Hi folks, Vipin here. How do Indian software companies make money? Now, what I want to talk about here is particularly Indian software. The reason I chose Indian software is because all the IT companies that I've come across, the big ones at least, they don't really make software like how Google does it or how Microsoft does it. What they more or less do is use existing applications and tailor the design of those applications as per the request of their clients. They don't really make something new altogether. So that's one thing which makes Indian IT companies different from the others. We don't really make anything new, but we use something which has been already made and we cut the application, you could say, and design it as per the requirements of the clients. Now, in order to understand how companies actually make revenue, we must first look at what are their big expenses. Now, the big expenses for a software company or in any company, you could say, one would be the employees. The more number of employees you have, the more difficult it becomes for your cost. The reason I say that is because unlike machinery, employees cannot be a one-time investment. When you buy machinery, it's usually an amount of money that you would pay at one shot. But when it comes to employees, it's a recurring cost. Every year you need to keep paying them. That is the CTC as they call it, the cost to company. You need to upgrade their salary. You need to keep making sure that the monetary aspect which has been given to employees is in an upward trend. So that is in fact one of their big expenses. Infosys prides itself for having more than 1 lakh employees, but it's not really a good case in when it comes to a business like software. The reason that happens is because when you have a large number of employees, the effort of these employees and the work here gets diluted, and when that happens, employees tend to become lazy. So not really a good thing to have a large number of employees. Another one here would be software licenses. I know most of us, I don't know about the people here, but I have bought original software quite a few times and it's pretty expensive. In fact, the laptop that I used to record these videos, one of the reasons why the laptop was a little bit expensive was because I was using genuine Windows application as the operating system for this laptop. You can see there Windows 8. Windows 8 is one of the most expensive softwares that is there in the list. Now this is the amount of money you need to pay if you are using it as an individual. For us, we pay the license fee as a one-time fee. But when it comes to companies, they need to pay this annually. And you can imagine how expensive it actually gets. Software licenses are one of the most expensive aspects of a IT company. One way in which they actually try and reduce their cost is by taking up a method called software leasing. You can lease out software. There is a company called First India Leasing Company. You can visit their website and you can see details on how software leasing is actually done. Another one there would be training. Now training here is a variety of things which the company actually considers. It could be improving the communication skills, it could be improving knowledge, it could be training them in a new application, it could be sending the employees abroad so that they can directly learn from the client. Training is one of the most expensive things. And also the unfortunate thing about training is you can't really associate the benefits which the training gives you in monetary value. Now I cannot say that because I attended a training in written communication, I'm able to draft emails better and I'm able to impress the client with words better. It's really difficult to quantify the value of training. So these are some of their cost centers. And then, who brings in the money? The first thing that you have there would be the top management. The top management are the ones that you see there would be the Chief Executive Officer, or it's written here as the Chief Operating Officer. It depends on the company's policies. They can either call them a CEO, which is Chief Executive Officer, or they can call them as a COO, Chief Operations Officer, or in some cases they even have designations like Chief Financial Officer, Risk Officer. There are so many variants to the top management titles. So the Chief Operating Officer, the Vice Presidents, these guys constitute the top management of a company. These guys in fact constitute the top management of a company. Below them you have the middle management. The middle management is indirectly responsible for the revenue. If you talk about middle management, it could be assistant managers, team leaders, even senior managers of a company. All of them constitute the middle management. Their job is to make sure that the work which has been given to their different team members goes on smoothly, and they're able to fulfill the work within deadlines. And when the work is able to be fulfilled in deadlines, the client is happy, and there is a good possibility the client might repeat the business. And that's what they mean when it comes to the middle management being indirectly responsible. So, what is it that these guys do exactly, the top management, when it comes to bringing in money? So, the top management would approach different companies and tell them, look, this is what we do. Your company requires the following applications. How about we design an application for your business requirements? Now, let's say, for example, State Bank of India, which is managing millions of accounts in the entire country. Now, let's assume that State Bank of India doesn't have a good database application system, a database management system. Okay. Now, what would happen is any of the IT companies, the major IT companies, they would identify this as a problem. Let's say TCS would identify and say, SBI has got millions of customers and you don't have a proper database to show that you have maintained the records of these customers. And the next thing that would happen is the top management would approach the top management of SBI. TCS top management would approach the top management of SBI. And now these guys would decide on a business model. That is, they would in fact look at a strategic partnership. The leftmost jigsaw puzzle that you see there, strategic partners and partner propositions. And now that's what happens here. The TCS top management will tell them that, look, we can be strategic partners. I can help you design a proper database management system. All you need to do is give me the details and we could be able to give you a very, very high quality system. And the next thing that's going to happen is they mention the key activities. That is, what exactly are they going to do? That is, how are they going to bring in the database management system? How do you start creating the database? Then the key resources. Now, TCS is going to mention, in order for us to make a database management system, we require the following things from you. It could be details of customers, it could be access to the servers of SBI, and many things like that. That's what you would refer to as the key resources. The value proposition. Now, TCS has to tell State Bank of India, what's the requirement? Why do you need a database management system? They can tell them that, look, if you have a proper database of your customers, you can send them messages. You can send them important information about the bank details. If, let's say, State Bank of India has increased the rate of interest, rather than advertising them, if they have the list of the customers and their mobile phone numbers, they can simply send a message across saying that, okay, we've increased the rate of interest. How about you make a deposit into any of the SBI accounts and open a fixed deposit, something like that. That's the value proposition that would be there. And then customer relations. When you have a record of customers, getting information about the customers when the customer makes a query would be really, really effective. If, let's say, I want to change my signature, or I want to provide a new photograph for my bank account, when I have a good database, All they need to do is just type in my name or account number, and immediately it pulls up on their screen. And I need not waste my time and have the bank go through several pages of ledgers and books until they've actually found my account. And when that happens, my relation with the bank actually improves. Distribution channels. Now that refers to how TCS is going to actually deliver the application to SBI. Are they going to work on one server and the server is going to publish the data in multiple systems? Or are you going to have TCS employees sit in different branches and quite literally make the database there, and in all branches you make a little bit of the database and eventually you combine it and make it into one big database? Now it's all up to them on how the distribution or the delivery of this actually happens. Next thing that you have there would be the customer segments. That is, there are different types of customers when it comes to SBI here. You could mention that we'll do it for SBI and we'll also do it for your subsidiary companies like State Bank of Mysore. There are many aspects when it comes to the other customers you can reach by approaching one organization. Then the cost structure. How much will it cost for SBI? They need to mention this to the dot. It's going to cost you so much. And why is it going to cost you so much? TCS needs to mention that to SBI. The next thing, of course, would be the revenue which TCS is going to make from this proposition. Now, how long does this actually take? You might ask. This could take months. This could take years. It's really not something that happens overnight. Because when you need to do something as gigantic as this, convincing management at different levels and making the whole thing come to life, that's what actually is going to take a great deal of time. When, let's say, TCS approaches SBI today, it's going to take a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of red tapeism, until SBI actually says that, okay, go ahead with this. Now this, remember, is in case of any organization. You will find red tapeism. You can never really do this overnight. Most of the top management which I mentioned, the CEO, the CFO, the vice presidents, their main job is designing things like this. They identify potential clients and they will approach them and tell them that we can make this for you. And this is what will be the benefit you're going to get. And this is what we will charge you for availing this benefit. It could be something as simple as this. Now, let's say the college which I was previously working, they have close to 12 sections in the commerce division. And I'm guessing around 15 sections in the science division. A software company could approach the college and say, you guys find it very difficult to make a timetable for your classes. We have a software that can actually make this timetable for you. That's one thing that you would come across, what the top management would approach of the software company to the top management of a school or a college and tell them that, look, this is what we can make for you. This is what the top management actually does. In a way, you could say that they are very highly experienced and in some cases very highly qualified salesmen. Moving on. So what next? Let's say SBI gives the go ahead, make a database for our business. So what's going to happen next? If the client is happy, the contract is extended. Now, SBI might say that you've done an outstanding job for our main company. How about you take up the subsidiary companies as well? You can start off with SBM and move on to the other subsidiary companies. And you're able to, in fact, gain more customers and more revenue by doing so. So the contract could be extended. All software companies work on projects, meaning one company will tell them, make this application for me in 6 months. And from today, if they start off, within 6 months, usually well before that, they have to finish making the application and show, you requested us to make this, we've made it, it works fine, now it's yours. So if it works fine, the contract could actually get extended. Otherwise, the senior management should look for new clients. Now, some companies might say, we will give you a contract for just a year. Just one application we want from you, we don't want anything more. And after that they might not continue the contract at all. In that case, the company might look out for new clients. Now the problem is, once you acquire a client, there is no guarantee that they will stick on to your company for a great deal of time. Many clients will just be interested in one application and nothing more than that. So this is in fact how IT companies in India actually make money. I hope you found the video helpful. Thank you for your time. Have a nice day. Bye.